problem is that we're not
Blacks
telling
here in
the
this
kids
city have
starting
made
to use
significant
drugs
contributions.
earlier in life than they ever have.
Welcome to Minority Focus. I'm Jimmie Moore, your host. I've said on a number of occasions that the saying that many adults have that all young people are going to the dogs is a fallacy, because there are a number of them out there in Paducah society doing some very wholesome, worthwhile things. And one of them is an organization called Just Us Productions, and also it coincides with Reel to Reel Productions that do, well, I'll let them tell you what they do. I'm talking today with Darris, Shelby, and Shurrod Wilbon, who are
We are the promoters of the
promoters.
event. Promoters.
What is it? What do you do?
Well, actually what we're promoting is a poetry thing, and what we do is we give poets a chance to get up and speak on the things that they write. So if you are a poet, or we also let some musicians get up and compose their music just as well.
This is like a freelance kind of thing, just is it
Yes.
rehearsed, or
Yes.
is it just out of the...
A lot of it is basically a open mic thing. You come in, you sign in, and we do kind of go over your material to make sure there's nothing that really offend anyone. But most of it is just open,
Right.
just wide open.
All subjects open, sure, right?
Yes.
All subjects open, no?
Yeah. No holds bars.
there.
Whatever you feel at that point in time, you can speak on. Actually how it all got started with just different groups all had a common goal about diversity within the Paducah community. So we kind of sat down and brainstormed and took regular people from different walks of life, different colors, different ages, different sex genders, and just roll it all into one big event or a movement type of thing where we can help the community out, show that the arts are not lost, and that we're trying to give uncommon people a voice and a platform to speak out upon. So it's something I think everyone is like, and we also put it to music, so anyone who don't just like the spoken word also can get it in a musical form.
And it is considered an art. It is considered
Yes.
an art
And the
form.
arts are leaving from, from what I see. I have young children in school, and they no longer have the opportunity to learn how to play a piano at a young age, or draw, or write poems, or be creative. They kind of taking it out, so we're just trying to give back to the youth and let them know that there are people out there that's on the same wavelength you are, or doing the same things that you are doing.
How did this originate? How did it get started? What kicked it off? What made you want to do it?
Well, just a group of individuals just tired of not being heard, and give struggling musicians, struggling artists, struggling poems, rappers. We take it all in one. Just people who don't have the means to get heard to the masses. So we're just trying to roll it all into one situation and create a positive movement for everyone.
But Darris, did it start like, say for example, you're writing a poem and liking the way it sounded, and then hearing somebody else's poem and saying, hey, that's awesome, let's see if somebody else wants to write it.
You're actually right. Actually, I'm going to speak a little on Just Us and give you an idea of what it's all about. Just Us was an organization that 3 guys sit down one day, and one guy decided and said that I'm tired of seeing all the things that happen in the community. I'm tired of seeing what goes on in the community, and I would like to bring a bunch of DJs, musicians, artists, dancers, and do some things in the community to show that our community is not all bad. That's how Just Us got started. From that, we ended up doing 3-on-3 basketball tournaments and things like that. Well, in the process of us getting Just Us started, I ran into a young man, sit down and had a conversation with him. We became the best of friends. We were almost like brothers. And through that, he and I started doing the poetry thing at Fat Mo's Bar and Grill.
Right.
So in the process of doing that, we had another opportunity to come up to do poetry in another place.
How big is it? Is it growing?
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing.
Getting bigger every day.
So in the process, we end up going to see other people do it and invited them over to join us to do our poetry thing.
Right. Also, Jermaine Jones, commonly known as Jay, And Alicia Mobley are also supporters of this organization. They're here in the studio to support the show. And Eric Mobley is going to give us a taste later on,
Okay.
a little bit of
Yes.
of some of the poetry that goes on. No age limits, no.
Well, there's no age limit for poetry, but some of the establishment do have drinking, so we prefer someone 21 and over, but we're all working on different events so we can get the children and the youth and non-drinkers and people who don't like to go to bars the opportunity to speak and come out and see us as well.
Right. Well, just as you know, the way you see on TV, poetry and poetry programs, you know, what have you, are entertained by a number of places, ranging from church to nightclubs and what have you. And the entertainment level is different with each place. So you accommodate.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We come,
Word.
like
Yes.
say, we have some that we say are just the spoken word, which we're behind either no music or acoustic sound, or we have some that's behind jazzy sound or reggae sound. It's just a plethora, just different type of whatever that person feel at the time they were saying their poem. We just try to match the music with us.
Right.
with
So a
it.
person that would want to, like the atmospheres you see on TV sometimes, a person that would want to go sit and have a few drinks and listen to whatever you present. Likewise, there's a place where a man and wife could bring his children
Exactly.
and
Yes.
sit and listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are those occasions?
Actually, if you are more adult atmosphere and you want to go somewhere that you can sit and have a drink and so forth, Club Plush is where we do it on Thursday nights from 8 to 11. And if you know you want to bring your children and you want to kind of sit down and relax and etc., the Coffee House on North 6th Street is where we do on Fridays from, if I'm not mistaken, 7 or 7:30 to about 10:30, 11.
Right. From day one, did it just explode? Did it jump off, or was it a long time coming? Did you have to really dig to
Not
get it
really,
going?
not really. It was actually really it was an ideal that just if you have ideals and put forward an effort to make them work, because you never know what can happen. It was something that we talked about. One person took a step forward, and everybody else is like, it's working. Let's do it. So, and I think that's where everything starts from. It takes one person to take a chance. You know, if you don't take a chance in life, you'll never get anywhere. You have to take a chance.
Does it seem like what about the age group of people who are getting involved in it?
For us
Is it
to-
more like kids, teenagers, adults?
It just
What's the
varies.
majority?
Every age.
Every
Every
age is getting involved in
Is that
it.
right?
I think here about a couple of weeks ago, I ran into a young lady. She was probably 13, and she had wrote her own poem.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, Eric has a son, and I believe he's somewhere around the age of 13, and he writes his own poem, and he does a really, really good job.
Cool. Because I know sometimes the younger generation isn't as
I
in
think-
tune with.
I think they're a little bit more focused than the older people.
older
I mean, those kids have so many bright ideals that they can bring to the tables, and they bring things that we never took time to focus on and look at, and they put in a different perspective to make us look at it.
No style, no particular style. Nobody's confined in any form of fashion. That's the style of.
No.
You ain't got to rhyme.
No.
No.
You ain't got to rap.
No.
Just got to make sense, if you will.
Yes,
Exactly.
basically, yes.
Yeah.
You know, because someone in the crowd or in attendance may feel the same way you feel. So we don't want to put any kind of restraints or any kind of hold on anyone. Just come out and be yourself, have a good time. And, you know, and be prepared to, you know, listen to some quality material also.
I remember a little bit from school about the styles that were like A-B, and A. I remember a little bit about that. You know, you have to stay within those confines. But the poetry that you're talking about is more on the lines of like freestyle.
Yes.
Yes.
Not a single word has to necessarily rhyme.
Well,
Well, you have those that do.
I mean,
But poetry is so widespread. I mean, there are so many things that a person can say in poetry. It doesn't have to rhyme. There's no boundaries with poetry.
Right.
There's no boundaries at all. There's nothing that you can't say in poetry that doesn't make sense.
Right. And I remember some comedy beatnik show some years ago where they had this poetry club at night, you know, and some guy would get up and say, "A tree fell to earth today," and everybody clapped, and that would be the end of the ball. Now, I don't know if you did like that, quite like that, but it has to be have some more format to it.
Well, we've had people to do that, to actually get up and I think one night that when we did Fat Mo's, we had a gentleman to get up and he told me, he says, "Well, I write poems and I do this," and he gets up and he says 3 words and he looks at us and, you know, we're looking at each other like, okay.
Is that it?
And he said, "That's it." So, I mean, it comes in all shapes, fashion, and forms.
Even as promoters, both of you get involved? Do you contribute from time to time?
Yes.
Yes.
I act as the, also at Color Push, I act as the host and the comic relief.
Yeah, he's actually a comedian.
Is that right?
Yeah, so you do get a chance to come in and
we
get
try
your
to
laugh
give
on.
all facets of entertainment. Like I said, we have unsigned artists that we promote, that we help promote as well, you know, to get a, you know, because like I said, it's about the arts. And a lot of the unsigned artists here don't have an opportunity or venue to play it, so we just give them an opportunity to come and do original pieces, original material, do collaborations with other artists, just kind of trying to form a big networking system.
Yeah, I could come back and talk with you some more in just a minute. Right now, Eric Mobley is going to give us a rendition of poetry, if you will. So I'll say soon and very soon, we're going to have a shot of him. But don't go away when the lights go dim. That's not right. We're going to come back in just a minute with Eric Mobley. He's going to give us an example of some of the things that are done in some of the poetry skits. Okay. Stay with us, won't you? For those of you who thought there may have been no more, keep your tune right there because Eric Mobley has the show. Is that right? It's on you, Eric.
Thank you. Why do you hate me? For my crushing oppression and crass subjugation of countries and creeds and genders and nations? I didn't do it, and I don't even approve of it. Well, I guess I voted for him the first time in a moment of pure foolishness, but I quickly learned my lesson, just a little late for conversation, when the bullets started flying and the body count toll hastened towards some undisclosed location. But when we asked them, when's enough? They just stared blankly at our faces with an easy smile and Gucci laces. So why do you hate me? Why can't I go out and travel for fear of being kidnapped by some psychopathic rabble who have a beef with my police over some long-forgotten battle that I didn't fight in? I wasn't even old enough to matter. Why do you hate me? Don't you see that you and I bleed from the same social disease? It's a virus called greed that we feed and we feed when we put the last of the gas in this corporate machine. But why do you hate me? I didn't own slaves, and I don't flash blades, and I don't send kids to the wars that they made. I don't cheat on my taxes or despise different faiths, and I didn't trade all your resources for a slap in the face. So tell me again, explain to me truly, what have I done to deserve incredulity? When was the last time I treated you cruelly? It's all sirs and ma'ams to me with some slight southern manners. Is my face and my hair and my ways all that matters? Or do you blame me for our national scandals? And I punch a time clock and wait for retirement when I'm too old to be bold and too tired to fight about it, so why do you hate me? I didn't make the unpopular call. I didn't take my gun and my knife and put your back to the wall. And I didn't have anything to do with your society's fall. What? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I didn't do anything at all.
You said that just like I wrote it for you. That's right on, man.
Thank you.
Excellente. That's an example of some of the kinds of poetry you'll be hearing if you attend any of the programs that they have. We're going to have, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
We're going to have Darris and Shurrod come back in just a moment. and talk to us some more about some of the upcoming things that are going on in the program. Stay with us, won't you? Welcome back to Minority Focus. After that marvelous rendition of poetry by Eric Mobley, we're now going to be, instead of the other two, we're going to be talking with Alicia Medina, who was with the Paducah Writers Association.
The Paducah Writers Group.
Paducah Writers Group, and Jay, who prefers to be called Jay, who's of the Black Ink
Poets.
Black Ink Poets.
Yeah.
What actually is the Black Ink Poets? No, time out. I forgot my manners. Ladies first.
Okay.
What is it that your organization does?
Paducah Writers Group is we support all writers, poets, storytellers, and musicians. So, and we come out of Excedra on 6th Street downtown in the Arts District. So.
How many people are involved in that organization?
Oh gosh, so many.
That many?
We have, well, it started out, we probably had like 5 or 6 writers, and now we've actually had a list of up to 25, writers in a night, I mean, it gets packed, and it's really gotten big, and but I think maybe about 30 to 40 people come into the coffee shop, different people, so.
So you're basically with the coffee shop. That's
basically, yeah, and then met Jay Skrilla, and now we're doing the Poetic Justice. Yeah, we've come together to do the CD and stuff together, so yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, and really the Black Ink Poets is something that we kind of spawned from the Paducah Writers Group. We just wanted to build a poetry group to kind of display some cultural diversity and, kind of give a voice for the urban community. And kind of bridge the gaps, between each respective community. So that's why we developed the Black Ink Poets, and actually July the 3rd, it's on a Thursday, we're going to have a big poetry event that's going to consist of the Paducah Writers Group, the Guerrilla Poets, which is from Murray State, and Black Ink, and other, acts that are going to come together as one to put on a big, poetry event to just represent, unity and togetherness, and kind of bridge these gaps and start to, get some cultural awareness amongst the community and show them.
That was my next question. How much of the surrounding area is involved? Are there a number of cities in the surrounding area?
Right now, it's basically the Guerrilla Poets, which are from Murray State, or Murray, and Paducah. But we're working on, moving outward, but that's basically, those 2 cities are the main cities that are involved.
How responsible is the recent Poetry Jam from last year? I think it was last year they had that. How much influence did it have on where you are now? Or is this a branch of it, or an extenuation of it?
It's a branch off of that. A friend of mine was in the Paducah Poetry Jam, and it really, I guess it kind of gave us the inspiration to start the Paducah Writers Group, and it really made it grow. So it was kind of a way of getting other people involved in our thing too. So at the etc.
I know from time to time you encounter people who think they're poets, who think
Everyone's a
write
poet.
poetry.
Everyone's a poet. They just have their own way of expressing themselves.
Oh, no, I declare to disagree. Sometimes some of those people can't write no poetry. They're not writing poetry, they're writing junk. I mean, that's a simple fact. But you deal with them as you would with somebody who was writing a masterpiece. Theirs
Yeah,
is just as
yeah.
important.
Because there's,
Definitely.
I mean, whoever gets up on stage, other people could be, they could have the same feelings or, you know, be inspired by that person, and the other 5 or 6 people might be like, oh my God, you know, whatever. But I mean, we try to get everybody up there and everybody involved. We've even had people come up there and never written anything before in their lives and have been inspired to start writing and have been very, very much involved and very talented.
Right.
So I mean, it just depends on what you're.
And I suppose that piece of junk has a way to evolve if it's given a chance
Right,
to,
exactly.
an
And that-
opportunity to.
And that's another goal of ours also, is to, you know, help people become better writers and better poets and, you know, kind of develop their craft. So that's another, you know, thing that we actually want to pursue as we develop our respective organizations is, you know, helping people become better writers
Yeah, we
and
learn off of each other.
better performers and get their messages across. And, you know, because we're all conveying or wanting to convey the same message, which is, you know, cultural awareness, you know, diversity amongst the masses and bridge these gaps amongst our communities.
So no losers. There are
Nobody,
No,
no,
not at
no.
all.
You just wait. I'm gonna come. I got something for you. We're gonna see if there's a loser. That's something I used to get into when I was young, but I hadn't indulged in a long time. Think thoughts, but I rarely sit down to put it to paper.
Well, I think a big problem here is that there hasn't been a lot of outlets. You know, they say if you build it, the people will come. So if we haven't had a lot of outlets for poetry to be expressed in a lot of venues, so it's new. You know, if you go to New York, they've had it for years and years and years. It's a culturally diverse, you know, area. But here, it's something that's never really been established. So we're kind of building a foundation for it and, you know, attempting to make it spread. And we want to build a circuit of, you know, expressiveness.
I mean, there are so many styles of poetry.
Yeah.
You know, that a person could say a poem that 50 people out there simply cannot touch. They don't conceive.
That's
because
true.
it's so different from anything that they've done. But that person has the same opportunity and the same time and the same whatever to express whatever that is.
Yeah.
I'll give you a perfect for example. There's a style called Gothic.
Right.
You know? And there was a time when I was having spiritual turmoil about being good and being bad.
Right.
So I wrote this. Mine sword doth slice the enemy in two, but yet doth not each half become instead the whole sum of the one. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Thank you, thank you very much. I like that. Do they do that in the...
That's what they do in the city. We're trying to bring it here, get people to catch on, but people just so,
Yeah, they get excited.
yeah,
so
they just want to clap. But,
I remember
no.
that from pictures I was
Yeah,
seeing.
but,
That's,
you know,
that's the response
that's the
to
proper
it. But it's
etiquette.
good that everybody can be, you know, a child can write something that
Definitely.
an adult can relate to, but they've done it in a simpler form. And it's exactly what that adult may have been thinking or feeling at that time. And sometimes vice versa. That child or young person can pick up on something that the
Right.
adult's writing, and maybe their life is being affected that way. And there's an end to it. It's not simply just writing something for the sake of writing. It's touching, it's growing, it's creating people, it's doing a mind health food thing, if you will, because it's making you think. And that's the important thing about anything that's written. It's supposed to stay with you after you experience
Right.
it, and you're supposed to do something with it.
Right.
You know, do you find that that's what happens? Do people seem to enjoy it that way? Do they take it in that way, or are they just hearing poetry?
Well, I think that it's catching on, and you know, it never fails. Every night, at the end of the night, someone comes to me and, you know, just out of the blue and says how much they really were inspired or how much they appreciate, you know, a piece that I did or maybe a piece that someone else did. So I think that, you know, it's power in words. And I think that delivered properly, you can touch, you know, masses of people. So, you know, it can't be taken lightly. And I believe that we have a lot of good quality artists who understand that and want to convey that message.
Right. And people don't necessarily sit at home on any given night and say, I'm going to put this together for a program at Plush Thursday night. It's just something during the course of a day on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the little thing that I just wrote. I wrote that on sitting in a caboose at Illinois Central Gulf
Right.
Railroad back in 1973
You
on a
still-
piece of cardboard paper with the stub of a pencil.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
and I
art.
Yeah, that is.
I never forgot it. And that's what people do. They're about expressing themselves, period. Not necessarily, you give them an audience, you give them somewhere to be, to share this experience, to share this feeling.
Right.
But when they wrote it, it wasn't about that.
Right.
It was merely about putting a thought down on paper. And teachers will tell you all the time, the best way to learn something or
Put it
to
on.
express yourself is to put it,
Exactly.
you know, put
true.
pen to paper, and that's what people do, and then they present to whatever you do, and that's great. I think that's wonderful. I thank all of you for coming and sharing, you know, and I hope as a result of the show, anybody still watching this show? Is this show still? If people are still watching, they'll pay attention, and there's somebody out there who thought about this, who thought they'd like to be able to share with someone else something that they've written.
Right.
I mentioned to you about a high school graduate, a recent high school graduate, who since graduation I talked with, shared a poem with me, and when she finished, I said, "Did you just read that to me?" She said, "No." You know, and it was some beautiful heart, you know, kinds of things. Again, thank you for coming, and maybe in the very near future, you can come back and we can talk about how things are progressing, or
Definitely.
things you've added or taken away, or different places that you're doing. Tell me quickly the places now that you present.
Okay, on every Thursday night from 8 o'clock until Club Plush, which is at 1200 North 8th Street. Every Thursday night, we have an event called RAP, which is Rhythm and Poetry. And every Friday night at the Coffee House, etc. in Lower Town, it starts at, I think they changed the time recently from 8 o'clock until 11 o'clock every Friday night. So, and that's more of a family-orientated event. So if you want somewhere to bring the kids, et cetera, it'd be a great place. If you want to just have a nice night out, you know, on the Thursday night, Club Plush is the place to come.
Excellent. Darris, Shurrod, Jermaine, Eric Mobley, sweet. This is Just Us Productions, and you just heard the nights that they do their shows. Alicia, Jay, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we hope that this thing grows and grows and grows. And I'm gonna throw me a poem or two in there too.
You really should come up on a Thursday or Friday, and yeah, we want to hear what Jimmie Moore has to say.
Thank you. For Minority Focus, I'm Jimmie Moore.